Welcome to TMK Broadcast. I'm Bombay, also known as Trevor Betts. I'm playing on the right side of the screen today. And then I also have Connor Richards. You want to tell us about yourself? Like, what have you accomplished?
Yeah, I most notably got top four at the Kashyyyk System Open in San Diego, 16?
Yep, 2016.
Yeah, and then I've won some sword champs here and there, and I'm flying the list on the left.
Nice. You want to discuss your list first?
Sure. So this is a variation of what a lot of people call plot armor. I call my version better armor. But it's essentially PS9 Poe Dameron with Intensity, Auto Thrusters, Comm Relay, BB-8, and Black 1 title, and then Dash Rendar with Outrider title, Heavy Laser Cannon, Lone Wolf, Ray, Smuggling Compartment, so then I can take Rigged Cargo Chute and Countermeasures, and I'm coming in at 99 points.
Nice. And if you notice, there's multiple dashes at this tournament, so we labeled this one Dan Rendar. And so here on the right, I have a similar Poe, same setup with Intensity, Auto Thrusters, Comm Relay, BB-8, and Black 1. However, I'm sitting at PS8.
Mm-hmm.
That's to fit in Han Solo here. So Han Solo is like a better dash. Tongue twister there. With Veteran Instincts, Engine Upgrade, Kyle Katarn, Kanan Jarrus, and then Millennium Falcon title. So essentially, if you guys remember the old Super Dash builds with PTL and Kanan crew or Kyle crew, what would happen is they would clear stress with either Kanan and his whole entire dial would be open. Or you clear stress and you have Kyle crew and you get the focus token for clearing the stress. I have the best of both worlds here. I have Kanan and Kyle, and then at this RivCo Tour, the stop number 1, everyone brought debris. Everyone brought debris, and so I was guaranteed there'd be debris to fly on. With Kanan crew, it clears the stress from the debris because how the order of the steps are, and so I end up on the debris with no stress, but with a focus token and an action still.
Right. So the setup for this tournament was a bit interesting. You can see in the middle there's in the bottom right there's a Raider, and then in the middle there's also a Rebel Epic ship. These both were extra large debris, which were added on top of the player's normal 3 obstacles that they would bring in. On top of that, so there were 3 normal debris from each player and the large epic versions for a total of 8 obstacle options, 2 of which are huge. And then once everything gets placed, all obstacles on the field are treated as debris obstacles. So everything will give a stress, and it will only be dealing damage if you roll a crit.
And then also Dash Pilot can't ignore the large debris.
Correct. So that's a big, interesting change is now there are actually obstacles that Dash Rendar cannot ignore as normal.
Yeah. Whereas my Super Dash, my Han Solo, he still gets the benefit over the epic debris, simply because it's doing the same effects as normal debris with the same steps with Kanan and Kyle.
Correct. Whereas, my version has to ignore or has to avoid those epic ships in the middle. You actually benefit from going over them as long as you're doing a white maneuver.
Yep. Have to watch out for those crits, though. 1 in 8 chance, they happen.
Right, but luckily you have enough health where it usually doesn't matter too much.
Yes.
As for the setup, you can see me starting in the top left corner. I have options available based on where I'm starting out, where Dash is facing straight towards the bottom, across my entire setup board, so that I can either one hard in and go up the top side, or I can just do 4 straights right across the bottom, or across the left side, as you see there. And then my Poe is set up right behind him, so I can do a similar option setup, where I barrel roll out, 1 bank in, as you see there, and now I have the option to barrel roll on either side of that corner piece. So depending on where my opponent goes, the next round I can kind of pincer in, or I can send 1 ship really far as bait, and then have the other one come in behind and follow up as they chase after a ship that can avoid a lot of damage, because both of my ships are very defensive.
Nice. All right, so the first round just ended. So we have my Han Solo way off in the corner. The reason why I kind of tilted there to kind of bait you to follow my Han, but then you also have a similar tactic with your Poe. You want to discuss that?
Yeah, so my Poe is set up in such a way where I can come in more towards your side, or I can follow along the outside. But my hope is that you'll be going after my dash. Or, I should say my expectation is that you'll be going after my dash. Because I've played a lot of this list, and I realized that you have a similar Poe. So I was assuming that you had the same mentality as me, and that most of my wins come from people taking Poe as bait. Where they chase after my Poe, expecting to take out that ship because he doesn't have regen. He can only barrel roll. And they chase after him, and they end up not dealing too much damage, and my dash comes in from behind and blows him up. So I was assuming you were thinking the same thing, where your win scenario, in my mind, was to take out my dash and win from there. So my thought was, your Han is going through the middle, my Poe can now barrel roll around that outside, get in behind you, have auto thrusters if you shoot at me, and in the meantime we'll be dealing a lot of damage to your Han as I kind of chase you from behind.
And as I was building my list, the reason why I didn't take PS9 Poe was because I figured there's no point to go to PS9 when everyone is at PS11 and 10.
Right, because there was a lot of NIM as well.
There was a lot of NIM there. There was even some VI, what's it called? Quick Draw.
Right.
Some of those type ships where they're just so high, there's no point to get to PS9 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't plan to face another Poe. I knew Dash was going to be there, and I'm thinking Corrin, I'll bring an initiative bid, it'll be fine. But as you set your list down there, I'm thinking, if I don't kill Poe, and it's a Poe on Poe matchup at the end,
then I would win.
Then you would win, either by points or just by outmaneuvering me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't even really consider that part of your perspective from it. I was just thinking of how a lot of people take my Poe as bait and then lose. And so I thought with that mentality in mind, you would be aware of that and not take that bait. I didn't even consider that from your point of view, your main win scenario involves killing my Poe. Because if my Poe survives past the early game or mid game, and it can't be killed by your remaining ships, that's a lot of points that I have over you. And if it comes down to Poe versus Poe, I have more points on my Poe than yours, and I would win because of that.
Yes. So we're kind of setting up our Poes in similar ways across the board. And there's both debris kind of in our way. You'll see, yeah, you're doing your Poe 3 straight.
Yep, we both did barrel roll 3 straights, both coming in at an angle. We both have a debris sitting right in front of us, and options to essentially go around either way because we both have BB-8.
And I think that's kind of key in this setup with Poe, to have the options go either way with the asteroids, and then either bank or hard turn, whatever you need, and have so many options. It's so hard for the opponent to guess where you're going to be.
Right, and right there I just tested to see if I could do a 1 straight boost, but it was too close to that debris, so it didn't work out. I was hoping to get within range for a long range pot shot on Han, kind of get damage started after you did whatever maneuver you were going to, but it also just informs me that a 1 straight next round, if I wanted to set up for a really close BB-8, wouldn't work out either. So now I know I'm going to have to go around this debris.
Yeah. So my Han does a series of 1 banks, 1 bank, and then 1 bank boost to kind of set up those future turns. I'm going towards dash to make you think I'm going towards dash.
And I definitely thought you were going towards dash.
Yeah. And I also wanted to go towards dash to have the option to go into range 1 later.
Yeah, my thought was to not ever give you the option to get within that bubble of dash, because as soon as you get within that bubble, you are just as maneuverable as dash, especially with your boost, you cover more ground. You can't move as well horizontally because you don't have a barrel roll yourself, but you're moving after my dash. Yep. So you can stay within range 1 of my dash really easy as soon as you get range 1 time.
Yep.
Especially because your ship, your large base ship, can gain benefits from going over those large epic debris, whereas my dash has to completely avoid them. So at that point, there are extra things my dash has to move around and has to keep in mind for future maneuvers, whereas you don't care. You get benefits if we are playing near those, which we will be. So
Exactly. All right, so this is the first RivCo stop. As you can see, we already went through the rules for this one. The next rule set, we have 12 asteroids.
right, each player brings 6.
Each player brings 6. How do you think your list would fare in that format with Dash?
So we discussed this a little bit off camera earlier, but some good points were brought up where Dash will always, the pilot Dash will always benefit from the debris. So it's a really good choice in this particular instance. However, with normal asteroids, he still can't shoot if he finishes his round on top. So we were thinking potentially the crew version could be a better benefit in that instance, just, in terms of there being so many obstacles, it's going to be hard to finish your round not on top. However, I'm going to keep flying this list because I'm having a lot of fun with it. Poe having the options to barrel roll all over the place. I enjoy the experience of it. I am probably going to have a lot of fun practicing that and flying around even more asteroids.
Yeah.
So your Poe here tried to barrel out to the left and couldn't actually fit. His corner went right off the board, so he decided to barrel roll in instead.
And that just barely clips the debris.
Yep, so first obstacle hit of the game.
Yep.
We're going to see a lot more with your Han, but those ones will be on purpose.
Yeah.
So you get a stress, you roll for damage, no damage. 1 in 8 chance, usually doesn't happen anyway. But the big thing here is you won't be able to BB-8 next round.
Yep.
You still have all your tokens because you used intensity, so you'll be fine, but it's still an important thing to keep in mind.
And the reason why I did decide to BB-8 instead of just take the debris and go straight through was because I knew I wasn't going to be able to BB-8 the following round. I was going to be right in front of that rock.
Right, so at least in this instance, you can do a normal green straight and still be fine.
It'd be fine.
Whereas the other way, you'd have to bank around the rock, and then you wouldn't have a good arc, and it'd be all bad.
Yeah.
So I do a similar thing where I BB-8 barrel roll, and then I was doing a 3 straight, and I realized as soon as I set my ship down, you're going to need to hold that debris because I'm going over it too.
Yeah.
So again, we're just copying each other at this point.
Yep.
So I take the stress, I roll for damage, and I roll a crit.
And this is the one difference between this Poe and the R2-D2 or the R5P9 Poes, where you can make mistakes like this and just regenerate when you're out of the fight.
Right.
However,
I only have 6 total health that's supposed to last me the entire game,
yeah.
and I just lost one before we ever even fought.
Yep.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
And it's a shield as well. Shields are really big helps in stopping crits normally getting through or extra damage and stuff like that. So losing a shield without combat even happening is pretty bad news.
Exactly. I do think the R2-D2 version of this list, the plot armor list, is one of the most boring lists I've ever found.
Shots fired, man.
It is. It's almost like quad TLTs. The BB-8 just makes it so much more fun to fly.
Yeah, that's actually a big reason why I chose BB-8 is I've been flying regen for a really long time. And it fits my playstyle, but I was getting sick of it.
Yeah.
There's only so much regen you can take before you kind of go crazy yourself. So I wanted to play a bit more crazy. And having that amount of repositioning and action economy that BB-8 and Intensity gives you is so much fun. It is a blast to fly. And you have to be a lot more careful because little mistakes like that can cost you.
Yeah. It's much more like an Imperial Ace style of play.
Right.
That's what I'm a traditional Imperial Ace player.
So for this combat, you shot with your Han at my dash. I evaded it all because I had range bonus, lone wolf, all that stuff. Now my Poe is taking a pot shot at your Han. I'm debating because I rolled 2 focuses and a hit. I actually spend my focus because I'm not getting shot back. You already shot at my dash, so I'm safe. You roll to evade, and I think you take a shield, or you just evaded all?
I took a shield.
Yeah, you took a shield. So at that point, totally worth for me spending that focus, because next round, I can't BB-8 anyway, so I'll just do a 1 bank, focus, and I should be fine. Now you're post shooting at my dash. I again evaded all because I have 3 green dice, Lone Wolf, another focus.
Yep.
And so now my dash is shooting back at your Han. Similar to how I assumed you would be focusing on my dash, I know I cannot take the bait of your Poe.
Yeah.
I have to kill your Han. And I realized as well that my Poe is worth more than yours, so I don't really care if your Poe survives. As long as I kill your Han, and then I either have dash above half, or I keep Poe alive. As long as my Poe is alive, I win.
Yeah.
As soon as your Han is down.
And so it takes 3 shields. You didn't get all paint with the Lone Wolf reroll, which that kind of happens every now and then. Mm-hmm. It's only 1 reroll.
Yeah, rerolling blanket to blank pretty often with Lone Wolf, but when it rerolls into paint and you have a ray focus, then it's definitely worth it.
Yep.
So all in all, my Poe took 1 shield because of
debris.
Bad luck with the debris, and I took off 4 shields from your Han. So definitely in my favor.
Yeah.
It looked not to be that way because I started off taking a shield for nothing, but that combat round just really went in my favor. Dash was too tanky, and you started to take that bait, and so I kind of wanted to capitalize from there.
Yeah. And so now, what I'm thinking is, I had that dial for Han dialed in before the round even started. It was already in my head.
Uh-huh.
But the real question was with my Poe, what he was going to do, because like I said earlier, I'm kind of baiting that I'm going to go after Dash, but I'm going to hard turn into Poe, and there's that big debris that normally you don't want to go through.
Right, even my Dash can't go through.
Even your Dash can't go through. But my Han loves it.
Mm-hmm.
He'll end up with focused target lock at the end of it.
Right.
But with my Poe, a 1 bank, if I turned in to try to shoot your Poe, it might block my Han.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a close call.
Yeah.
Because you cover a surprising amount of ground even with a 1 bank.
Yeah.
And so if you blocked your Han in that situation, that could be really bad.
Yep.
However, you just had both of your ships fire at my dash. Your Poe can only chase my dash. You can't get a shot on my Poe. So I'm assuming you're going to have both your ships go after my dash.
Yep.
So I'm going to play really defensive with my dash because, as I stated before, as soon as your Han gets within range 1 of my dash, you're going to stay there for pretty much the entire game. Exactly. I would have to do some crazy hard turn, barrel roll shenanigans to try and get range 2, and even then, you have a hard one as well.
Yeah.
So you're gonna stick around. It's gonna be hard to shake that. So I need to keep my distance while I have the option to, and I'm gonna try to capitalize on that with my Poe as well. Because I'm assuming you're going after my dash. My Poe can turn in and try and either get a better setup for a later round or try and get some damage.
Exactly. And my viewpoint is, I need to take out Poe.
Right.
I'm not going to have the firepower to do it with just my Poe, or even my Han out of arc. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So just harden, and then depending on where your dash goes, I can either follow him if I do a bunch of damage to your Poe, kind of see where the ground lies after this turn.
Yeah, my thought process here again was, I never even considered you would go after my Poe here. Yeah. I thought with this positioning and with where that large obstacle was in the middle, I just wasn't even considering the crazy Kyle Kanan maneuverability that you benefit there. So I'm trying to capitalize on that with my Poe and set up dash to stay safe, because I'm assuming your Han with a 3 bank and then a boost can get really, really close to wherever my dash ends up.
Yeah.
And that's a given, even if you didn't go after him. So I need to account for that.
Yeah. Engine upgrade on a large base ship is worth a lot more than 4 points.
Yeah, especially when you have veteran instincts on Han Solo. He has that pilot skill 11.
Yeah.
And you also have an initiative bit. There was nothing that you would not move after.
Yeah.
So you get to see where the board is at, you get to boost, and you get to do that after going over an obstacle, which is insane.
Yeah.
So just the amount of ground, even how we're looking here, doing a 3 bank boost could potentially get you in range 1. That would be a close call.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking, okay, I still might be safe, so I'll take that focus token because I don't think it would have, or at the time I especially didn't think it would have. Maybe I should have played it a bit safer and barrel rolled away, especially looking at it from this angle.
Yeah, but if you barrel roll away, you're not focusing shots just in case.
Right.
Like Poe won't have a shot. But of course, you don't know what I'm doing, so...
Exactly. And I also wanted the option to have 2 focuses. Because I already have one banked on Rey. At least one. And so taking the focus action, I can have one for defense and one for offense. Yeah. Which is important if you were focusing fire.
So you didn't flip intensity back last turn.
Because I spent the focus.
Yep. So you're debating on what action to take. You can boost, you can target lock for future turns. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised... You don't just sit there
and focus.
Well, even like just target lock, because it looks like I'm going after dash and just kind of save it for later, save it for a rainy day.
My thought here was either I focus, even if I don't get a good shot, I get to flip over intensity, and that's awesome. But on the other hand, base you can't really see because Han's kind of blocking the view of the obstacle there. I don't have a straight way around it. I have to turn away and then turn back around to go down the path that your Poe's going down. Yeah. That's going to take a lot of rounds, and my dash is going to be on his own. So I need to set up better. So my thought was, if I boost straight or at an angle, then next round I can BB-8 barrel roll around the obstacle and then continue my movement around it. And it would save at least a round and a half of maneuvers, because right here I can't BB-8 around it because of that debris that's on the right side.
Yeah, exactly. And if saving a turn or two is huge, especially when each game is around like 11 to 15 turns, depending how long the game goes.
Right.
Round or two is just critical.
Yeah, and my whole mentality with my list is I use one as bait and the other as backup. And another big reason why I boosted here was I was not activating Lone Wolf where my Poe was at. If I boosted, that could be range 3 away from my own dash, giving him the option for Lone Wolf.
Yep.
So that kind of sealed the deal there, was I wanted more defense for my dash, and it inevitably also gives him more offense with being able to re-roll a blank if I so desire.
Yep.
But then you hard turn. And I realize what I just got myself into.
Yeah.
I only have an evade. I don't even have a focus. I don't have intensity for next round. And my Poe is looking like he's going to get hurt.
All right, so we can do the odds here. The probability with 4 attack dice, range 1 at Poe, against just his evade. No auto thrusters activated.
You get a focus for Kyle over the rock.
And a target lock.
And a target lock for your action.
So I'm expected to do 1.64 damage. So 1 or 2 shields.
Yep.
With that result.
And I'm already 1 down, so that's gonna hurt.
Yep.
Because all I have is an evade. I'm getting a third green dice because of the debris, which is important. But you're rolling 4 with a huge amount of modification.
Yeah. And the probability of doing 1 damage here is 87%. It's pretty high.
To at least do 1.
To at least do 1. I don't max out my hits.
So you spend the target lock and reroll a blank to another blank. That's really good for me.
Yep.
Now I roll my 3 greens, and 2 of them are natural evades.
Yep. And he gets out with
So I just spend my evade token, and I'm totally fine.
Which, like I was saying, during the game and later on, it kind of negates the debris scenario.
Right.
Kind of evens out the luck.
My luck turned around for sure. And
then I think my Han gets out, spending his focus.
Yeah, because I had the range 1 shot with my Poe, but I didn't have modifications, so it didn't matter too much.
And if you notice the range ruler I'm using, that's 2016's RivCo range rulers. The top of your screen there is the 2017 range rulers. That's the silver ones.
Mm-hmm. So he was trying to intimidate me by showing off that he won last year's tournaments.
And my Poe does no damage because you got all the mods in the roll at range 3 with dash.
Yep. So now I'm shooting back at your Han. You're already down to only 1 shield. I'm hoping to punch more damage through. So I roll all 4. I get paint. Spend the focus for 4 hits. You roll your 1, get a blank, and that's a bunch more damage.
Yep. So now I'm down to 5 health.
Yep.
That's 2 shots
From dash,
from dash.
and he's dead essentially.
Yep.
Because I'm rolling 4 red dice. At most, you'll have 2 greens with a focus, maybe focus evade. But you would usually probably spend your action to reposition better or something.
Yeah.
But even in a great scenario for you, you'd have 2 greens, 2 green dice, because you'd have an obstacle, you'd have a focus, and an evade. And I'm rolling 4 reds, so I don't even care. I'm punching damage through.
Someone asked me why I had the old title compared to the new title, especially with Kane in the list.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt the evade, I can actually dodge TLT shots if I wanted to.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Through obstacles with focus evade, it's possible.
Yeah.
And in this game, I never really wanted to evade. I just needed that damage output to match your dash. But in the other games, I use that evade a ton.
Yeah,
Evade,
I don't think you ever took the evade action this entire game.
Yeah, I never did. Never really wanted to.
Yeah, I can see already you're focusing on damage.
Yeah.
You're trying to punch as much through. That's why you took the target lock option.
I probably should have at a couple points, but I needed to take shields off. And
Well, a big point is if you kill my Poe, you're in a really good position to win. Because with my Poe down, all you need to do is deal half health to my dash, just 5 more shields, and no matter what you have up, you win.
Exactly.
Because if your Poe survives alone, that's still worth more points than my half dash. Your half Han is still worth more points than my half dash. So once my Poe falls, you're in a really, really good spot to win.
Yeah. And it's kind of critical this first tournament. If we look at last year's tournament results, the first tournament, we tied for first place. It was, let's see here. That's not in libraries. This was the first tournament. So Michael Deegan won the first tournament with 9 rank points. Him and I both tied that first tournament.
Oh, okay.
But he had the ranked one, so he ended up with two more points.
Gotcha. Because of like MOV?
MOV, yeah.
Okay.
And
an important note is, so there's 5 tournaments in this whole tour, and your placements give you points which carry over to each tour, so at the end your total player ranking will award you final placement.
Exactly. And so it's super critical that you get as many points as possible at each stop, because Michael Deegan and I, it was the very last game of the whole tour to clinch.
Oh, really? It was that close?
It was that close.
How many of the tour stops did you go to last year?
I went to 5, he went to 4.
Okay.
I had 1 dud, like tournament that evened it out. But yeah, it was super close.
Yeah, so that's an important note. You don't even have to go to all of them to be in the running to win it all.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I won't be able to make it to all 5. I'm hoping for 4. I can definitely do 3.
Yeah.
And just the spread of points, there's a good amount of people that finish with 3 points, and that's a significant portion. If you do really well in one and then decent in the others you go to, that still puts you in the running to take it all.
Yeah. For instance, like if you go to all of them and you end up with 3 points of rank points at each of them, you're still pretty high up. Because the other guys, they're going to have a couple duds where they don't end up with any points.
Or they can't make it.
Or they can't make it, things like that. Or if you have a couple good tournaments and can't make the other ones, it's pretty good for how the point system works.
Yeah. And it keeps things interesting. So this round, I decided to, again, run with my dash towards the corner, because that way I can kind of ring around the rosy when your Poe comes in, because your Poe is not going to be shooting my Poe. There's no way.
Yeah.
I was also expecting your Han to try and pincer. I knew your Poe was coming around the left side of that debris. I was pretty sure your Han could 3-bank in and try and cover that as well. So I thought you were going for that pincer, trying to get that range 1 and finish off my dash before he caused more issues, because I know that 2 more rounds of my dash shooting at your Han and he's dead.
Yep.
So my Poe at this point, trying to get in a good position to run, and try and turn around to get behind your Poe as well. If I can get behind your Han to help out when you inevitably go after my dash, that's even better. So I barrel roll back. I I still don't have intensity back up, which is important because I boosted without any tokens last time. So I barrel roll and don't get any tokens for it. I do my 3 straight, and I take a focus so that I can finally flip intensity back over. And you just follow.
Yep. One hard, get away from dash, gonna save some health on Han, survive a few more turns, and then hopefully kill Poe before dash comes back to be relevant again.
Yeah, again, I was not even seeing the options that you had there. Like, it wasn't even considered as an option in my mind to follow that closely to Poe. I thought for sure you were thinking of him as bait, especially because I just avoided a range 1 shot entirely. I thought, oh, there's no way. He's going to go after dash and try and pincer and kill him.
I needed to make it make the last shot worth it by spending all your tokens, not have intensity.
Yeah, I should have seen that coming, especially because, I didn't have tokens.
Yeah.
So you boosted here to try and get arc, so I couldn't get auto thrusters, but you can see the arc actually just slides right past my Poe.
Still ends up range 1, which is probably better with Han ability in play.
But you might have been range 1 even without the boost.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah.
It was definitely close. But the important thing is you're assuredly range 1 here.
Yeah. So I end up with 2 symbols, which isn't enough to get past Poe's defenses.
Right, because I'm rolling 2 greens. I have my Poe ability with a focus if I have to spend it, and auto thrusters. So I'm going to be dodging 2 no matter what.
Yep.
So you need 3 to deal damage.
So what I'm thinking is, I was just thinking the math in there. I get the 4 symbols I need with the Han ability.
Yep. So as long as I roll 1 paint out of the 2 dice, I'll just take 2 shields and I'll be okay. And I roll two blanks. So I auto thrusters for 1, and one of your hits in there was a crit. So that actually gets through my shields because I lost 1 shield earlier on that stupid debris. So I get a crit. If I do a white maneuver, I get a stress, which isn't the worst because I'm going to be doing a lot of greens with BB-8. But there are rounds where I have the option, as long as I still have my evade banked, I can freely do a 2 hard or 3 hard and then boost. And because of intensity, I'll have an evade, a focus, and I almost completely turn around. And so that's great positioning. So I really like the option to do white maneuvers. So I want to fix this crit when I get a chance to. Especially being able to fix it when I'm out of combat, and because there are rounds when I'm in the fray, and you want the option for those extra maneuvers, but if I don't have those options, you also know where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So I want to fix it when I'm out of combat so that I don't need it when I'm in combat. So I'm going to be looking for that in the future, but at this point, I just took a lot of hits and I'm down to 2 health. That's not good with the position that your Han is looking right now.
Yeah, and I'm kind of debating, because you can easily block my Han with the barrel roll back in front of Han in 1 straight.
I put myself on the debris
you put
there.
yourself on the debris, but it saves your Poe.
Correct.
Another turn.
If you were to turn in an attempt to follow my Poe, which either if I go straight or I turn to the left when you're looking at the screen, as long as your Han just turns that way as well, you can follow wherever I go. Yeah. So if I barrel roll expecting that and I barrel roll towards your Han, kind of back as well, and then just do a 1 straight, I'll block it.
Yep.
And if I don't block it, and because you do like a 3 hard or something like that, I'll be behind you, which is even better.
Yeah. You'll have auto thrusters activated, and you get the intensity already activated, so you got your tokens. You'll end up with a stress because of the debris, but
I already have intensity right now, so I'll still get a token at the very least.
Yep. And so I'm thinking in my head, even though I want to dial in that 1 hard so much.
Right, just for the easy follow-up.
For the easy follow-up, and then Poe would be dead right then. I have to go for the safe bet and just do the 1 straight.
Just in case I go for that block.
Yeah.
My mentality, I saw that option as well. I also saw the option of barrel rolling that way and banking towards the right of the table. If I did that, I might be able to avoid going on that Raider obstacle. And then if you turned away, I'd be able to freely get all my tokens back, fix my crit, come back around, and be back in the fight. My mentality why I didn't do either of those, it was a tough choice. Because it was just reading if you go for the obvious option or if you go knowing that I could go for the cheeky option. So it was a lot of mind games of, does he even see that as an option? And if he does see that, does he think I'll do it?
Yeah.
So my thought process was, if I barrel roll to the left of the screen, then I can intensity for my evade. Then I do my green maneuver from there, and I can take a focus. Then, worst case scenario, if that's the wrong option, I still have all my tokens for defense. Whereas if I went to the right, I wouldn't have those options, because I would probably hit the debris, so I'd only have one token, and I'd be stressed, and if I chose the wrong option, if I went that way, and you did something where that wouldn't block you, then I'd be dead, assuredly. Whereas if I made the wrong choice, but went to the left, I'd still have tokens and could survive.
Exactly. I think you make the right choice. And I obviously made the not so good choice.
Well, it's still, as you were saying, it was still a safe option.
Yeah.
In hindsight, maybe not so much, but we'll see how that unfurls. And then, as far as the other half of this battle that's going on in the upper left, I have been playing a lot of Poe, so I know, especially this BB-8 Poe, I know where he can go. I know that my dash, even if I won hard, you're inputting a 3 straight. I know that, because that's the fastest green maneuver, and I know that this version of Poe wants to barrel roll to the right to get closer to where dash will be, and also push him forward a little bit with that barrel roll. Then you're going to do a 3 straight, and then boost if you have to get in range 1. So knowing this, my dash, I basically have to 1 hard just to not go off the board. And staying there, you can just 3 straight boost and still get me. So I have to think of some way to barrel roll and maybe put that debris that's in the corner as kind of a blocker to avoid that range 1. So we'll see if that's possible, but I just know how maneuverable Poe is. It's going to be tough to get out of that range 1 from you.
Definitely. And I think also what to keep in mind is you have that rigged cargo upgrade, where if I get too close, you can just fly right over me and just land it on me, and then Poe's out of the fight for 3 or 4 turns.
Right, and as we were saying, the round count within a game is, under 15 usually. Yep. So being out for between a third and a fifth of that, just because of, a 1-point upgrade that I get to land well, is really, really important.
And on the same subject, your list loves the debris.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about with these different formats, like the 12 asteroids for the next one and the debris for this one, of the upgrade card, seismic torpedoes? It's one where you can spend an action to blow up an asteroid or debris, range 1 to 2, and anything within range 1 rolls 1 attack die and they suffer the damage.
I've always liked that card. I've never been able to fit it into a good list, mainly because when the opponent's aware of it, usually it doesn't even matter that much because it's only a chance for damage. So the main benefit comes up with opening up space. So you really want something in your list that benefits from open space immensely. And then you put something like right in the middle of the field so that your opponent thinks, oh, I can go around that and use it to my advantage if I have a turret or whatever. And then you just blow it up. So they don't have that protection anymore. The only issue is finding a list that benefits from open space more than any other list, and then within that list having a ship that takes seismic torpedo, and then also catching your opponent off guard with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're also spending 2 points in that list for seismic torpedo. So it's hard to justify, but I really like the idea of changing those obstacles. I just feel like rigged cargo chute on Dash is just the opposite of that, and in a better way, because he benefits from more obstacles, and it's really easy to place that down and justify the 1-point cost.
Yeah. So as you see here on the screen, I try for the barrel roll, can't get it.
And that's the main reason why with Dash I barrel rolled back into the right, because I hoped that your barrel roll wouldn't make it, in which case your 3 straight might not make it in range even with the boost. But after seeing you boost and land that, it's a much tougher call. I had the thought after you landed it's probably range 1, And I already barrel rolled, so I have to hope that Ray is enough to help me out.
And I'm already kind of planning for the end game here. I know his Poe's going to die pretty soon.
I'm hoping not.
Yeah. I'm hoping Han can finish him off, and all I need to do is take some shields off of Dash. So if I can get a range one shot at Dash now, take a couple shields, or make him pop countermeasures so I can get another shot later on, that's pretty good with Han. I'll be pretty set with that. Right. Even though, as I set this down, I was telling him, I was like, I already know what you're going to do next turn. You're just going to drop the cargo on me.
Yep.
Poe's going to be out. But it'll be fine if I can take a shield or two, or make you use countermeasures, make you use a Ray token.
Right, because my Poe is not going to deal any more damage to your Han. It's just not going to happen. It could happen if I got an insane read right here. If you did a 3 hard and I barrel rolled back with a 1 straight, maybe I could deal more damage. But I know you're not going to do that, so I'm taking the safe option where I barrel rolled to the left, token up just in case. And I kind of play the long game here, hoping that I can buy enough time with you chasing my Poe that my Dash can come in and finish off Han in 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping with my Dash here, my Dash doesn't get hurt enough that it matters. So I'm probably going to be popping countermeasures to stay above half health.
Yeah. What's your opinion on half points?
This is a very touchy subject.
Very touchy subject,
especially
right now.
Yeah, right now in the community, that's a really touchy subject. I feel like there's a lot of... It's a really touchy subject. There's a lot of debate in terms of small ships that cost a certain amount or have a certain amount of health, making them fall to half when their health falls to half. So either having, say, 8 health, anything with 8 health or more, that's a small ship would also suffer half health, or anything that costs, say, 40 points or more, even a small ship, could fall to half points. My main reason why I personally think it should stay as is, because mainly one of the main reasons why people are saying it should be half is because of Miranda, but she can regen. So I feel like it would just make things worse. It would just make other things suffer more.
Yeah. I definitely think people think that will solve Miranda, but I don't think so at all.
Right.
If you even get close to half points on Miranda, like, she's just going to run away. She's going to clip that 1 TLT shot on you.
It'll just make her slam earlier in the game.
Yeah. That's all it'll do.
So an important move right here, you did the 1 straight, which you thought was the safe option, but your 1 straight's a green maneuver, and it's not a white maneuver, which is very important, because your combo doesn't work with greens.
Yep, it doesn't work with greens. It needs to be white for Kanan.
Exactly.
And it will affect the next 2 to 3 turns. Because the next time, if I hard over that debris to kind of follow Poe again, I still end up with 1 stress afterwards.
Right, because you start with 1 stress here, you relieve 1 with your white, and then you get another 1 for going back on the debris.
Exactly, and if I do that again or again, I'm kind of stuck with it. So I end up with only 1 symbol. I need 3 to actually do something. With Auto Thruster's Poe ability, evade token.
I'm going to dodge it all.
You're going to dodge it all.
Yeah. So luckily, my own option of playing safe helped me out immensely.
Yep.
And then, sure enough, I popped countermeasures, so I have an extra agility dice on Dash, and you were range 1.
Yep.
Your Poe was not rolling all that well this game.
Yeah. It was a hit and 2 focus, which is pretty good, but not for Poe.
Right.
Because I want to keep the focus, especially because I know the rig cargo's coming.
Yep.
I kind of wish I spent it.
You would have gotten A damage through.
I would have gotten A damage through, which is critical and just trying to get 5 through here.
Right. Every little bit counts because Dash can't regen.
Yep.
And you know at this point that you're going to get stressed because of the debris that Dash is going to drop on you.
Yeah.
The only issue is I need to choose the right maneuver so that when I drop it, it falls on top of you and you go over it a second time. If it only falls in front of you, then you can barrel roll around it and you won't get affected at all.
Exactly.
If it falls on top, but not also in front, then you're only stressed for a single round because you're gonna be revealing a green. So if I just drop it on like the back part of your ship, you only get one stress from it. You'll relieve it. You'll be back in the fight in a round or two.
Yep.
So I have to position myself properly with a maneuver with dash, so that when I drop the rigged cargo chute with a one straight out of the back of my ship, it falls in front and on top.
Yeah.
A four straight might have done that, but I also want to go back to my Poe to help him against Han, so I end up choosing a three bank because it gets me far enough, and I feel like that angle would be proper enough to get the right drop that I need.
I think that's the safe bet there.
Right.
Do the three bank. You're set up for the next future turns. Even if it doesn't quite work out, you're in pretty good positioning.
Right. I get closer to the center of the map, which unfortunately is close to the obstacle I need to avoid, but it gets me closer to help out my Poe.
Yeah.
And with Poe here, I'm thinking you can't turn all that well because you won't be able to boost because of that obstacle being there, that raider. So I can do a green maneuver or whatever I really want leaving here and then flip my crit.
Yeah.
I really want to do a 2 or 3 hard leaving this rock field so that I can go kind of regroup, maybe get behind your Poe or something. So I'm thinking for the future. I don't think your Han will be in range, and I don't really feel like I need to token. I still have auto thrusters and I'll have extra dice even if you do get in range. It won't really matter that much.
So here you reveal the three bank, execute it, and you have a lot of experience with bombs.
I've played a lot of Miranda, yeah.
A lot of Miranda, so you know exactly where it's going to end up being.
Yep. And that rigged chute is...
It's so big.
It's really big, yeah. It's the width is the same as a large base ship. It's essentially 2 ship bases long. And it's in like a trapezoid that's about like a base and a half long. And you drop it with a 1 straight. So it essentially goes back about a range 1 range band, and it goes across about a large base ship. So if you can imagine those lengths, that's kind of where your zone of destruction is. So sure enough, I got that good drop. I placed it well. Luckily, having played with bombs so much, it helped me visualize that. So now your Poe is out of the fight for a good number of rounds, especially because you didn't even do the 1 bank.
Yeah.
So you have to do a green to relieve that stress, and then another hard turn, and then I'm already going to be in the middle. So that's probably 3 rounds of you being gone.
Yeah, I didn't do the 1 bank because I think it would have clipped the other debris too. I would end up with another stress.
Yeah.
Did the 3 straight just to make sure I was behind the debris, depending on how you dropped it.
Right.
And I felt like if I can kill Poe, which is now extremely difficult with him so far away.
Right.
Oh, I was taking a crit finally.
Yep.
The debris.
Finally got some payback on those crits.
Yep.
Those
Can't
debris.
do straight maneuvers, which isn't a huge problem.
Yeah. Most of your straights are green anyway, so you won't be doing those.
Yeah, I won't be doing this.
Especially now.
Yep.
So I have an evade. Even if you're within range, I'm rolling 4 green dice with auto thrusters and an evade. And all you have is a focus. So right off the bat, you roll 3 paint, so you spend your focus. One of them's a crit, which is kind of scary, but I'm rolling 4 with auto thrusters and evade, and I roll no natural evades. So I auto thruster 1 and spend my evade token, so I take a crit, and it's a direct hit. So very unfortunate odds, but to be fair, I did not properly token up for modifications in that spot. I got greedy. That was my own mistake in the making. It wouldn't have been in that position if I didn't hit that debris earlier, but I could have easily avoided that. If I just took a focus, I would have been fine. If I boosted, I would have been fine. If I did a 3 bank or a 4 straight, I would have been fine. So I kind of set myself up for those bad odds, taking my Poe out of the game way earlier than he should have been.
Yeah, if I'm doing the calculation right, it's about 7% chance that you take a damage from that.
Just a damage.
Just a damage.
So the fact that one of those hits was a crit, and the next card in the deck was a direct hit.
Exactly.
Definitely ups those odds.
Yep.
So I felt like I was sitting pretty, I wasn't.
It kind of reminds me of that 2016 Worlds where Dengar had Corn.
Oh, and it was like, what, a 3% chance or
3%
something?
chance of him with a double tap to get through shields, to get a direct hit through, with focus evade Corn, with regen, for that to happen.
Yeah, so he took the obvious option, and it bit him because of odds. And
Yeah.
I want to say the same thing with me, but I took the bad option. It was me being greedy, waiting for a future round.
Yeah.
I was thinking too far ahead when I should have focused on remembering that your Han covers ground.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I just didn't think you could even shoot me. And I should have known that you've been defeating me with your maneuvers like crazy. So my dash shot at your Poe only took off a shield. Wasn't that important. And at this point, I need to kill your Han. You're at 4 health, so I can do it in a single shot. If you don't have mods and you roll a blank and I get all 4 hits, then I can take you out. But I know right here with this positioning, you cannot boost, which is really important because you have a stress on you already. So yeah,
that one turn just totally, because let's say if I didn't hit that debris, it was really, really close.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't hit it, and I go over, I would have no stress right now. I'd be able to one hard and boost.
And no matter where, and this move from my dash right now, where I'm doing that 3 bank, would be a really bad choice because you could one hard and boost within range 1. That's how much ground you can cover.
Yeah.
But I know that you still have that stress, so sure you'll get a focus, but after your hard turn that I know you're going to do, you won't move from there.
Exactly.
So knowing that, I stay put, I get a focus so that I can unbank with Rey and have one for offense and defense, and I can get another shot at you and possibly finish the game.
Yeah.
Especially if you go too aggressive trying to take off all of my shields, or set it up better so that your Poe can do that later, then that'll be really, really helpful for me.
Yeah.
Because there's no way my dash can fall to half health this round, but there is a way that your Han can die. So you roll for the debris. Don't take a damage this time. They already got their blood from
Yeah.
you. And you didn't do a straight maneuver, so you flip your crit back over.
Yep. Now I wonder, should I have actually gone the other way? Hard turn the other way, make sure dash didn't have a shot, and just buy myself a turn? Or try to take this shot, take a shield?
The issue with turning away is you have your back to dash.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier for me to...
Stay out of range 1.
Right, stay out of range 1 when you aren't looking at me.
True.
So I roll to dodge. I end up taking a shield, which is super beneficial. I still have a focus for offense. So I'm rolling all 4 of my red dice. I come up with a blank, so I lone wolf it because I don't have a friend anymore, and I get 4 paint. So you could die because you spent your focus already, but you roll that natural evade.
Roll those natural evade. Got lucky.
Yeah, so you played the luck, and you benefited kind of from it. You only dealt 1 more damage, but that's 1 closer.
Yeah, 1 closer.
And you're in a good position, potentially, to follow up with a range 1, with getting in range 1.
Yeah.
So I have to play really safe with my dash from this point on, because, as I stated earlier in the video, as soon as your Han gets range 1 of my dash, you can keep it.
Yep.
And my dash is dead. Or at the very least will fall to half health and then I'll lose. So I need to play for the scenario where you get to range 3 of my dash after your maneuver, and your boost will not get you within range 1. So that's the scenario I need. Because I'm at 4 health. So as long as your Poe isn't also shooting at me that round, as long as your Han is range 2 or 3, my dash will not fall to half health, and I will kill your Han.
Yeah, it's pretty critical that you get that setup.
Yep.
Because if you get that setup every single time, you win the game.
Yep.
Pretty easily.
And at this point, all I need is that setup once, and I win the game.
Yep.
But you're moving at Pascal 11, and I've found out time and time again, you can really move with that Han.
Yeah.
Especially when everything's considered a debris.
Yep.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, this Han build is probably one of the most fun ships I've flown in this format. This is the only day I've ever flown it.
And it's super interesting to fly against, too.
Yeah.
As you've seen, it caught me off guard so many times.
Yeah, it did it all throughout the tournament.
Right.
Each time I had to explain how it worked.
Just so you didn't feel bad when you
Yeah.
pulled off the crazy combos every round.
Yeah. And when like they try to shoot Han range 3 through debris with the focus evade, it's like Soontir.
Oh,
They
God.
can't do any damage.
It's like Soontir, but you have, what, like 13 health or
Yeah.
whatever? Jeez. So at this point, I'm playing for the possibility that you try and get range on me, range 1. So I'm expecting if you do a hard turn or a bank, I'm hoping that that large asteroid, which is considered a debris in this tournament, allows or stops you from boosting closer.
Yeah.
Because I think you still have a stress on you at this point.
I do.
Right. So you'd have to avoid the debris that's to your left corner. So you'd have to kind of fit right in there. And I was pretty sure, even if you went in there, you couldn't boost properly to get range 1 of dash. So I focus up so that even if you turn away, I can bank it on Ray for the future. And that'll really help out. And if you come in closer, I can have one for offense and defense and probably get the kill.
Yeah. There's my Poe doing a white maneuver for once.
I'm a big fan of BB-8 Poe juking people by doing the white maneuvers when they expect a barrel roll green every round, and then you just pull out a 2 white turn or 3 white turn and catch them off guard.
Yeah. All right, so my Han turns away. I'm trying to buy time to get one kind of last kill shot on dash.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, maybe Poe gets a shot at the same time.
By kill shot, you mean half health shot.
Half health shot, yes.
Because with how much time is left, there's probably, like 20 or 30 minutes, something like that?
Probably about 20 minutes at this point.
Right, so not enough reasonable time for my dash to kill your Poe, especially because you're, even at pilot skill 8, you're still moving after my dash. So it's going to be really hard for my dash to punch any damage through. And as long as you get my dash to half health, you win with your Poe.
Yep.
So it's to your benefit to get one good round of your Poe dealing damage to my dash to plink off a shield or 2. After that, your Han just needs one good round, even at range 2, to get me down to half health, and you'll win. I'll kill your Han, but there's no way, even if I focus, especially because I focus on that scenario, there's no way I can kill your Poe after that.
Yeah.
So at this point, I need to keep my dash above half and kill your Han, which is really tough.
Yeah.
When you're Pascal 11 with engine and your Poe's going to come in and try and deal damage, it's going to be difficult.
So I feel like I should have done the one straight. I wasn't sure if it was going to hit the debris, because it gave me a lot more options.
You could have tested it with the boost last round.
I could have tested it this last round.
Maybe that was the way to do it.
No, I think I needed to refresh intensity, because I had those 2 stresses.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So it actually benefited a lot more that I got that rigged cargo chute drop. So at this point, I think you're thinking about boosting.
Yeah.
If you want to do the curved boost and set up closer to where my dash is. But I'm hoping you do boost, because then that's easier for me to jam
block
in there and block.
Yeah.
But you don't. So now I'm in a really awkward position. Because I don't know, similar to when we were in that corner previously, I know how far your Poe can get. I know that if I do a 1 hard and barrel roll away, like if I 1 hard to the right and barrel roll down towards where it says RivCo, you can still potentially get in range 1. Like, that Poe can jam.
Yeah.
So my thought is, especially because you did it last time, I thought you might try it again. So my thought is, if I position properly with a good enough maneuver and with my barrel roll, I can get close enough that you'll bump when you try and do that maneuver. And if I get your Poe to bump, you won't be able to get more shields off, which will put me in a better position to kill Han later.
Yeah. And with the turret, you don't need to be facing Poe all the time. So after this turn, where you can force a bump, you're off to the races.
Right.
It's so hard for Poe to come around again.
Right. Especially if I get that bump, it's going to be hard. It's hard for this version of Poe to turn around. You never want to do red maneuvers, and with that big Rebel epic ship in the middle, you can't do the 2 or 3 hard with a boost to get around faster, because you'll run into that.
Yeah.
So if I get this bump, then I don't have to worry about Poe for basically the rest of the game. You could try and do a red maneuver after a bump like that, and get back sooner, but if my dash chose to focus on your Poe instead, then I could win from there too.
Yep.
So it's risky to ever do a red with this Poe, so it's hard to turn around because there's so many obstacles.
Yep. And that's why I think it's still great, though, with BB-8 and all the obstacles where you can go either direction you want.
And you're moving after me, so you have that afterthought, too.
And, like, PS9 Poe is even better.
But in this scenario, it makes no difference.
Makes no difference.
So at this point, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with dash. Because it all depends on what maneuver you do.
Yeah.
I also realize if you try and slow roll it, assuming I'm going in fast to go for that bump, then if I choose to do a one hard and barrel roll back towards RivCo, it's again to your benefit that you do a slow maneuver.
Yep.
So I was thinking similar to earlier with the Poe choosing the maneuver and maybe bumping Han. I was thinking of the worst case scenario that could occur with either option. So I realized worst case scenario with me going slow is you have another round with a better option for yourself in terms of positioning. Whereas the worst case scenario, if I get in close and you are able to get that shot, I still don't have to worry about Poe for the rest of the game. Yeah. And I have a lot of mods.
I think this is what makes some dash players better than other dash players. You go for the 3 hard, and you're going to barrel roll into Poe to try to block him, right?
Right.
And it's all about that timing where you go in for the block, and then you boot, or then you start running away, catching the shots. Because you got that range 1 bubble, you have to make sure you get that block.
Right, and so many people are afraid of having dash close to anything. They always run, always run.
Yeah.
And what people forget, especially facing against dash, is he can get in there fast.
Yeah.
Like as you just saw, so much ground was covered, and now I realize you revealed a 1 straight. You can't hit me when you BB-8 off of that.
Yep.
If you BB-8 towards dash, you bump. If you BB-8 away from dash, I'm out of arc.
Yep.
And so I ended up choosing the right option here. And we were kind of discussing that here too, of like, dash really jammed in there.
Yeah. And it's I'm still thinking too, like, okay, if I BB-8 over and I run into you, how does it look next turn? I'm doing 4K.
Yeah, 4K
it's still
or
gonna
Talon roll.
Or Talon roll. I'm still going to be behind the fight, and there's that big debris there in the middle. Or if I Talon roll, I'll be double stressed. It's not looking good. I'd rather take the shot now.
Right.
And try to just hope for good dice to take. The magic number is 4 right now.
Right. You're rolling 4 reds. If you roll 4 hits, then that's 2 shield that I'm losing no matter what.
Yep.
Even if you roll 3, I'm taking 1 shield. And that puts me in the potential to fall from half health with your Han.
Yep.
So you're just hoping for ideally 4 natural hits, hopefully still 3 natural hits. Anything else, and I can dodge it all.
Yeah, and even if I get 2 hits and you have your focus and your lone wolf, the odds are I can get. There's a good chance still of 1 hit going through.
Right.
And that's 1 shield. Now my Han has opportunity.
Yep.
But I roll blanks and it doesn't matter.
And it's all for naught.
Yep.
But that was a good play. That was part of your win scenario.
Yep.
Any other option with Poe there, and you would be out of the fight for too long. This scenario, you're stressed, so you're still out of the fight, but you had that potential to deal the damage enough to win. So now I'm in another tough spot, because I've seen how far your Han can move.
And your dash can't avoid that obstacle.
Exactly. Or I can't ignore it.
Can't ignore it.
Right. I have to actually maneuver around it, which is really weird to play as Dash, trying to actually avoid things.
Yeah.
But every game this tournament, those obstacles were pivotal in every single one, because as Dash, you now have to appreciate those obstacles, and they were placed in different positions, and they're so big. There was one game where they basically acted as gates for the entire middle of the field. And it was just so interesting every round, seeing how the setup was different and having to, play a list that I've played a lot very differently, and just because of obstacles. So really, really interesting and made me, have to think a lot.
What was kind of your strategy with the obstacles throughout the tournament?
Originally, like the first game where I said they were kind of like a gate. They were really close together, and there was only a small pocket through them. I was trying to use it to my advantage and think, oh, maybe I could get an interesting run right through the middle of them, and I did, and that helped me get the win eventually. But I realized it was too hindering. So after that, I made sure one was kind of farther away, as you see with this one in the corner. But the second round, I was against a close mirror. It was the plot armor with the R2D2 version and no countermeasures. So I again had one closer to the center because I realized it was to my benefit. My ships were more maneuverable, and I felt more experienced with my dash, or I hoped I was more experienced with my dash than my opponent. And sure enough, it helped out. I was able to actually use them as my advantage when his dash had to avoid them too. This one, I made sure one was in the corner because I, just looking at your list, knew that your Han benefited. So
Yeah. Pretty much my strategy in each game was to have debris close enough to each turn. I could just go like debris, 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 debris.
Right. But you have to make sure you don't hit two in a
That's
single
the key.
round.
I can't do green maneuvers, and I can't hit two.
But the hard turns on Han are so good anyway.
Yeah.
So at this point, I felt like I couldn't risk the 2 bank having myself clip on that large obstacle. So I did what I thought was the safe option. It ended up being the unsafe option because I realized, oh my gosh, 2 bank easily would have made it.
Yeah.
Easily. And I just set myself up to a easy range 1 from your Han. You can 1 hard or 2 hard and boost.
Get my
And
focus
you're
because I'll
easily
be on
there.
the debris.
Yep.
So target lock or Han ability, range 1.
Right. So at this point, I have to barrel roll, and I'm thinking you can bank along the edge and reach me if that's your maneuver, and you'll reach me if I barrel roll to the left. If I barrel roll to the right, I might be able to use the obstacle that I would be partially on top of as a blocker and hope that your boost won't complete because of that. Whereas if I go to the left, if you do a hard turn, it also might have the same effect. But at this point, I decide to go to the right. It was a tough choice, and it all depended on your maneuver option. And I also thought it would be, more likely for you to do a bank maneuver, just because the less you go on debris, the better.
Yeah.
Essentially, but I mean, at the same time, the more debris you go on, the more focuses you get.
Yeah.
So I knew that was an option too.
And my win condition is get that range 1. So the hard turn gave me options.
Yeah, you could
either
cover no
direction.
matter where I went.
Yeah. So I did the hard 2 to give me the options.
Yep. And so at this point, I realized you're going to get range 1. Your boost puts you in range 1 easy.
Yep. And I rolled a crit. And that's pretty much the game.
Pretty much game.
Yeah.
So I didn't even consider that as a possibility.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking that could happen. But you had gone over probably, like 13 or so debris this
around
game?
13, 14. So odds were pretty good that I was going to hit 2.
Right. And they just so happened to lead up to that kill. And so we were loud at this point.
Yeah.
We were very excited for that turn of events.
Yeah, we were pretty excited when you got the direct hit, and then I got the crit through that.
Yeah, those crits just changed everything.
Yeah.
So at this point, I've pretty much won with my dash. I have more points. All I need to do is not fall below half, and I win.
Yep.
If I fall below half, that means I have to kill Pup. So the smart option is to run.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with running. There was a store championship game where I had Vader and Omega Leader versus this guy's Nora with regen.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't do any damage to his Nora that stuck.
Right.
It was
'Cause he had regen.
virtually impossible. Like Omega Leader shoots at her, does
like
1 damage, and then
right.
she regains the 1 damage. If Darth Vader even looks at her, he takes 3-4 damage.
Right.
And so like 25 minutes
Right.
I ran.
Because that's your win condition.
That's my win condition.
Yeah.
And people like look at you weird and stuff. It's not like you're slow playing. I put the dials faster than other players.
Right. The important thing is what your win condition is, especially in a tournament like this where the standing carries over for the future as well. There's a bit more weight to it, and you have to understand the other player's perspective and what their win condition is. In this situation, my win condition was to run, but I didn't feel like running. At this point, I was having a lot of fun, and an important thing to note, I wasn't sure at this point what the format was for the player rankings. I wasn't sure if overall MOV mattered. I also wasn't sure if my placement ranking would put me with similar win-loss results as other people, in which case my MOV would really matter even in just this tournament.
Yeah.
So I was playing to kill Poe. At this point, I was pretty confident because you were stressed you weren't going to hard turn in, so I barrel rolled for a very good positioning next round, and this round I knew I wasn't going to get shot because you couldn't turn in well enough. I realized here you can boost and maybe get a shot, which is kind of scary.
I wasn't really looking for the shot. I was mainly looking for that range 1.
Right, which, again, I didn't even consider.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't have barrel rolled, but if I didn't, I probably didn't get a shot either way.
Yeah.
So I, took the ray focus just in case, but I think you get that range 1. It's a close call, but...
Yep, it's range 1.
Oh, yeah, that was the one where it actually fit between them, but because of the bevel of the bottom of the bases, the template was slightly off the playmat.
Oh,
so
okay,
it physically fit between them, but it was lifted.
What it slid. What
yeah,
slid
exactly.
In, yeah.
There was no room for it to fully touch the bottom, so it was range 1.
So close.
Right.
That Ray Crew card, you've had focuses on it the whole time.
Yeah, and that was mainly because you focused on Poe the entire
Yeah.
time. So he was still an effective bait because I had enough focuses in the end against Han and against your Poe when you got that range 1 over debris. I was able to dodge those shots and avoid falling to half because you gave me the opportunity when you focused on Poe so much.
That crew is one of the best in the game, I think.
Yeah, I wrote it off when it first came out, but after I realized, just how many rounds it takes to get the first combat engagement, you can get 3 or more focuses on Rey, and that can last you the entire rest of the game.
And depending on, there's different matchups where you compare it to, the Moldy Crow title, to where the focus is out there.
It's actually on the ship.
It's actually on the ship. That's a whole lot different than placing it at the start of combat. Because let's say if you're going against Paylob, they both have the same trigger.
He can always steal it from you.
He can steal it from you. Whereas with the Ray, depending on the initiative, you can place it out after his ability.
Yeah, a really important one is Old Tarok. He
Yeah.
removes all focus and evades if you are looking at him at range 1. And with Moldy Crow, those are on your ship, so you would lose all of them.
Exactly.
Whereas with Rey, if you have the right order of operations, he does his trigger to remove, and then you get to unbank with Rey, if initiative goes in that way.
And was it Quinlan Jast or
The one that copies the amount
copies
you have?
the amount you have?
Yeah,
That's another one.
with a target lock.
Yep.
Which is a really cool ability. I like the idea of it, where you match what they have. But it's really funny if you go against somebody with Moldy Crow and you target lock them, and suddenly you have 4 or 5 focuses on a sick interceptor. So
If only Sunterfell was in the meta.
well, you can fly whatever you want. You just if you fly it well, then it's in the meta, right?
I don't think it's a lot different with. For instance, we played that game with I had Inquisitor, Omega Leader, and Upsilon Shuttle, and you had the Miranda big Stress Hog, the Paul Heaver list, and I had to fly perfectly, and one mistake
wasn't to your benefit, right?
Yeah, it wasn't to my benefit. One mistake where I missed a block, and my Omega Leader dies. It's the only bomb that went off, yet my Omega Leader dies.
Right. There are certain things that just aren't as viable.
Yeah.
But I think that's what really defines the meta is what can do okay against its bad matchups.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like this list with the Dash and Poe. I'm really confident in my capabilities with how I maneuver my ships, especially given BB-8 options. So I feel like even in my worst matchups, I can still do well enough to win. I feel like my worst matchup is a 30-70% when kind of met up that way, and I feel like I can win that if I fly best.
And I think a lot of people mention how like bombs drive Imperials out of the meta and stuff. I think it's more of a case of if you look at every single list of these top 16s at U.S. Nationals, UK Nationals, um, every single one except for Fairship Rebels has a turret of some sort, or the one odd Imperial list that makes it in.
It's just more opportunities to attack.
Yeah, and that's huge. If you look at pilot abilities like Quick Draw, where it's just 3 more opportunities to attack, it's huge.
Right. So going back to the match that's currently ongoing, you did a K turn, got a stress, took shots. You rolled really lucky and didn't take any damage without many mods. And I realized the next round you couldn't BB-8 because you were stressed, so you could only go forward. So I just flew like a jump master would. I just ran in there, realized I was pretty sure your one straight wouldn't land, and I was.
It was a lot closer.
It was a lot closer than I thought. Yeah. After I finished the 3 bank, I realized, okay, that's actually pretty close. So I just kind of hoped, and sure enough, you bumped. So at this point, you still had to take off 4 health, and we had about
I think we had 2 turns left.
Yeah, 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, and it's kind of key that I have to give myself as much opportunity for dice kind of bailing me out right now.
Right, and I need to avoid range 1 from you. I do a 3 hard here thinking that you are going to run, because I thought you would be preserving MOV. And I don't really know why I didn't consider your win condition. That's a really important thing to keep in mind, is your opponent's win condition, because that dictates what options they're going to choose.
And also I'm keeping in mind, because I already knew the tournament, how the standings were, and I wasn't going to get the 200 MOV, which is one of the points.
Right.
I wasn't going to get it this game. I'm going to lose this game no matter what, unless I play out of my mind and get lucky dice.
And I make mistakes.
And you make mistakes.
Which I make one right here.
So I give my best opportunity here and hope to get the points, the best MOV points, next round.
Gotcha.
And so I'm trying to get this range 1 shot. I got it. Then we messed up.
I didn't barrel roll. Oh yeah, so towards the end of the day, it's round 3 of 4. We're really tired and excited. There was some bumping going on, but ultimately we knew it was range 1. That's all that really mattered. We made sure that was kept. Yep. Looking at the actual video, I don't think we actually bumped it that much, and so we didn't really have to move it. So all's well that ends well.
Yep.
But I don't even know why I didn't consider your win conditions.
Yeah.
So I should have seen that Talon roll, because that was the only way you would get a shot and possibly even a range 1. Sure enough, it was range 1. So I should have seen that, and I didn't, and I could get punished pretty hard. So you roll for the debris, don't take a damage, that's fine. And now you're, again, hoping for naturals.
Yep.
I'm hoping you don't. So there's a good amount there.
I get 3, and I take 3 shields.
Yep.
Or was it 2 shields?
2 shields. Yeah, so because I think I lone wolf into an evade there.
Yeah.
So I dodge 1, and I'm thinking, oh, God, I can actually lose this.
Yeah.
So
it's possible.
Yeah, so I made a mistake. The play here, because you're double stressed, what I should do here is just a turn towards you. I should, again, fly it like a jump master. It's my game to lose at this point. If I just do a bank or a hard turn or something towards you and just keep it close, there is no possible way for you to shoot me. You're double stressed, so that can continue as well.
Yep.
And I can, again, fly like a jump master and stay close.
Because you could hard 1 and then just go over me, and I can't turn back around fast.
Exactly. And for some reason, I do a 3 bank. I think I was trying to keep distance to get those shots, because I'm thinking, you don't have mods, I could kill you, I could get more MLV, I could improve my score here, and I like keeping fights interesting. I don't always like running. Yeah. There's a reason I'm not flying regen in this list, is it's not as much fun. But this is just bad play.
Yeah.
This is not playing towards my win condition,
yeah.
And you now have the potential to make me pay for it. And I should have, again, seen your own win condition of course you're going to turn towards me. Of course, that's your best option. So I should have done that hard turn, and I could have, been a lot more well off.
Because also I'm thinking, I got 4 health left, right? I have auto thrusters activated.
You're not going to die.
I'm not going to die. Unless I roll all focuses, which would be very ironic.
Or if I lone wolf into a crit or something like that. and you have the bad card luck that I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you hard turn towards me because it's the obvious move that I should have seen, and unfortunately, you're range 1.
Yep.
So very, very bad for me. I have to hope that you don't deal more than 2 damage. Or they don't deal more than 1 damage, essentially. I can take 1 damage. So you roll, and you get some hits in there.
I got 2.
And I roll a bunch of blanks.
For 1,
and I get it.
Got it. So close. Fun game.
Very fun. Way, way closer than it should have been in the end.
Yeah.
I made a lot of poor decisions, especially compared to how close it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was not playing towards win conditions towards the end, but you were capitalizing really, really hard there.
Yep. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
And then for our audience, go to RivCoTour.com if you want to check out the standings. As we go on through the tour, we have one coming up here in a few days, and then after that, it's every 2 weeks typically.
Yep. I believe the 4th one is 3 weeks from the 3rd, and then the last one is 1 week after that 4th one. You can also check out the Facebook page. Most of the upcoming tournaments are listed for that, for the RivCo Tour Facebook page.
Yep.
So that's a really good place to check out what stores are hosting what tournaments and what the special obstacle options are for those.
Yeah. So it's been fun. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.